Mystery Act 2 Blind Frog Ranch. The desert doesn't speak in words. It whispers through rusted metal, buried bones, and shifting sands that conceal more than they reveal. Blind Frog Ranch had always given off a kind of hum, a subterranean tremor that tickled the base of your spine when the sun dipped behind the yunttas and shadows started crawling from their hiding places. But what happened in the fall of that year, that one dig, that one chamber, remains, without question, the riskiest and most incomprehensible thing I've ever been part of. It started with the map. It wasn't like the others. This one was wrapped in an animal skin that reeked of age and creosote. It was given to us anonymously, left in an envelope nailed to the door of the RV one morning. No explanation. Just a crude diagram of the property, a series of X, and a date scrawled in red ink across the top, 1723. By then, we were used to hoaxes. Tourists, bored locals, YouTube treasure hunters, they all wanted their moment of fame. But there was something about this map. The ink had soaked deep into the hide. The corners were singed, as though someone had tried to burn it and changed their mind at the last second. The paper was brittle and flaked at the edges. When we scanned it under UV light, faded glyphs revealed themselves. Symbols not on any official record, but eerily close to Ute and Navajo sigils used in warning rituals. Still, curiosity overruled common sense. The X on the northeast quadrant of the ranch sat near the flooded cavern we'd discovered the year prior. The same one with unexplainable electromagnetic readings, the one where our drones refused to fly, and compasses spun wildly. We closed it off after the last dive team reported hallucinations and aggressive skin rashes. But if the map was right, we had missed something. Or maybe someone had hidden it from us. We broke ground at dawn. The first 30 feet were unremarkable. Layers of clay and fractured shale, some old mining tools, a few oxidized coins likely left by settlers. Then we hit the limestone shelf. That's when the readings went haywire again. EMF spikes, sudden temperature drops, static interference that blanketed every radio and camera. We kept digging. At 43 feet, the backhoe struck something hollow. A sound like a bell rung deep below us, metallic and unnatural. We switched to hand tools immediately, carving out the perimeter. What emerged was a sealed shaft, a vertical tunnel lined with timbers, impossibly old, petrified in some places. The air that rose from it was thick and sweet, like rotting fruit. There were no signs of wildlife, no insects, no rats, no snakes. Nothing alive would go near it. That should have been our first warning. We rigged the winch and prepared the descent. I volunteered to go first, not out of bravery, more like a sense of ownership. This ranch, with all its madness and legend, had consumed my life. I needed to know what lay beneath. The shaft descended nearly 60 feet before it opened into a cavern. I touched down on a floor of black sand, soft and bone-dry. The air was still, but heavy with pressure, like being underwater without the wet. My flashlight barely cut the darkness. The walls were smooth, almost polished, and bore strange carvings, not etched, but melted into the rock itself, as though scorched with heat. That's when the humming started. It wasn't audible at first, more like a vibration in my chest. A tuning fork struck somewhere behind my ribcage. Then came the sound. Low, rhythmic, a pulse, steady and mechanical, reverberating through the floor. I called up to the team. No answer. My radio was dead. Not static. Just dead. I moved forward. The tunnel narrowed, and the carvings grew denser. They formed a sequence, a mural, almost. I recognized figures, animals, celestial bodies, humanoid shapes with elongated skulls and eyes like obsidian marbles. One panel showed what looked like a star falling from the sky and striking the earth. Another showed figures crawling from the impact site, bringing tools and fire. Artifacts of some kind were embedded in the walls, metallic rods, gears, globes that glowed faintly in the dark. When I reached out to touch one, the sand beneath my feet shifted. That was when I saw it. The chamber. It opened before me like a mouth. A dome-shaped space, at least 60 feet in diameter, lined with hexagonal tiles made of a stone I couldn't identify. Slick and cold like onyx, but veined with glowing strands of color. In the center was a pedestal. Resting atop it was a cube. Featureless, seamless, matte black. Around it were the remains of animals. Deer, birds, even what looked like a mountain lion. All perfectly preserved, as if petrified in mid-motion. And then, movement. I couldn't explain it then. I still can't. But the cube began to pulse, responding to something in me. My presence, maybe, or my thoughts. Images flashed in my mind. Desert storms, stars spiraling in reverse, a city of lights buried deep beneath sand and stone. It felt like being plugged into something ancient and vast. I was no longer standing in a cave. I was part of something beyond time, beyond a language I tried to move, but my limbs resisted. My body was stiff, locked. My mind raced. The air shimmered. I couldn't breathe. Then everything went dark. I woke up 2 hours later at the edge of the shaft, covered in black sand, the winch rope still hanging beside me. No one had seen me exit. The last footage from my helmet cam was static, followed by a single frame, a still image of the cube, floating above its pedestal, glowing like a miniature sun. We sealed the shaft that night. We never spoke of it again, not publicly. The footage disappeared from our servers. The map was gone, taken from the secure lockbox we'd stored it in. No signs of forced entry. We even found the envelope it came in, shredded and burned in the fire pit behind the shed. But no one admitted to putting it there. No fingerprints. Nothing. Since that day, I've had symptoms. Dreams, mostly. Recurring visions of geometric landscapes, vast cities under domes, beings made of light and metal. Sometimes I wake up with sand on my hands, black like the kind in the cavern. Once, I found a new scar on my wrist, a perfect circle, like a brand. Doctors say it's nothing, a coincidence. But I know better. That dig changed me. Whatever was down there, it wasn't human. It wasn't treasure. It wasn't gold or lost Aztec artifacts or outlaw loot. It was something older, something watching. Every instinct in me says we were never meant to find that chamber. The cube, whatever it was, wasn't buried to be discovered. It was hidden, contained, and we opened the door. To this day, I don't know if we released something, or if it let me go. But I do know this. Of all the insane, death-defying, logic-breaking stunts I've pulled during my time on Blind Frog Ranch, crawling through collapsed mine shafts, diving into freezing underground lakes, getting nearly electrocuted by forces we can't explain, that dig was unquestionably the riskiest. The first faint whisper of sunrise caressed the horizon when the convoy slipped into the secluded stretch of desert where Blink, and later Blind, Frog Ranch earned its notorious name. Only the faintest silhouette of half-forgotten desert peaks loomed in the distance. Layers of parched earth stretched outward as far as memory could drift. The place harbored absence. In that absence, everything hovered on edge. Boots scuffed on gravel as the team assembled beneath a taut canvas top, shielding the midday rays rather than anything tangible. Equipment lay arranged in the way surgeons might set instruments in a sterile room, each tool hunched in waiting. Within that starkness, time condensed. Breaths weighed heavy. Everyone's focus anchored on the wrought iron gate, marked with a single, sealed lock. Beyond it, the ranch sprawled, dilapidated barns partially collapsed, chillingly empty stables, a main house missing most windows, and a long-forgotten windmill creaking its sad lament. Despite decades of degradation, something resistant remained. The land whispered of secrets, as though soil and wooden timbers had stories locked in the grain. The rationale for coming here had been straightforward, clinical even. A rumor. Decades ago, an expedition vanished. Investigators thought they had uncovered all mysteries. Maps documented places, photographs archived places, but not events. Not disappearance. Not immediate absence. Not odd cries muffled in twilight. Exploration squads rarely ventured this deep anymore. Most dismissed the site as haunted or inhumanly dangerous. Official records shrugged it off. A few hushed rumors cited strange lights, unexplained tremors, or creatures with no eyes, something resembling a frog whose blindness was its defense. Locals whispered blind frog to describe the phenomenon. An accidental agricultural prank turned unsettling. Over time, the name took root. Blind Frog Ranch. None of the project team believed in supernatural tones, but careers had advanced flirting with terra incognita. They found the prospect, and risk, agog. Each step deeper into the property felt like peeling away thin film over something else.